Hello everybody, Scott Bryce here, and I am on another Vermi-Adventure. So let's take a look at what I've got here. This is another one of my feeding experiments. A while ago I did an experiment involving raw eggs and the worms went crazy over them. So I decided to give a try and see if worms will eat cooked eggs. So I have one of my containers that I use for my experiments. As you can see, it's got holes in it so the worms can crawl in if they choose to or stay out if they choose to. And this is filled with, let's see, there we go. And if you can see that, this is shredded cardboard and 2 chopped up hard-boiled eggs. And because the yolks are kind of mushy, the shredded cardboard has been coated in egg yolk, and I've got little bits of egg white in here. I'm going to stick the lid on. Let's see if we can get this and bury it in the bedding here, down at about the level where the worms are eating. Stick that in there, and we'll leave this in here for a little while and see how the worms respond. Now, my best guess is that the worms will eat this. My experiments have shown that worms like animal proteins, whether it's dairy or things like eggs or that type of thing. The worms don't have any trouble at all with it. In fact, they like it. The yolks should be mushy fairly quickly. The whites will take a little bit longer to break down. My guess. We'll check on this in a few days, maybe a week or two if necessary, and we'll see what the worms do. If we find it's full of worms, we'll know the worms will eat eggs. If after a couple of weeks there's no worms in it, then we can be pretty sure the worms won't eat eggs. So let's let it stay in there for a few days, and we'll come back and give it a go. My hard-boiled eggs have been in the bin now for 4 days, and I have got something to show you. So let's dig in here and pull this thing up. And first, let's flip it over, and we can see I have got worms crawling in this thing. And let's open this up. And you can see I've got worms in it. And there's a lot of them. These are big, they're healthy. Let's dig through here a little bit. Oh, there we go, there's more. They're loving this. Now something in here is starting to get a little, looks like it's moldy. I'm not sure, that's probably the yolks. That could be yolks drying out, that could be just, that could be mold forming, I'm not sure. Let's dig around a little bit more. Now I do have some other food that is spilled into here. Somebody has asked me when I do these experiments, do I feed the worms? Yes, I do. I feed the worms like I normally would. So the worms aren't going to crawl in here because they're starving. They're going to crawl in here because they like the food that I'm presenting them with. And this bin, when I put the eggs in here, I fed it pretty heavily because it hadn't been fed for a little while. So we'll dig around in here a little bit more. And you can see we got a lot of worms in here. These worms are really loving this stuff. So if there's any question about eggs in your worm bin, I have put both raw eggs and hard-boiled eggs in the worm bin, and the worms have eaten both of them. Now, some people will warn against putting animal protein or excessive protein of any sort in the bin. I have never noticed a problem. The problems that people normally associate with protein in the bin, I've noticed it's more a problem of overfeeding and the bin going anaerobic, too much moisture in the bin. And I believe that what we call protein poisoning, this is my opinion, is not actually protein, but it's ammonia forming in the bin when it becomes anaerobic, and that is what causes the string of pearls look that people call protein poisoning. So the egg protein does not seem to be a problem. The worms are eating this right up. It only took 4 days before the worms got into here. Actually, they were in here yesterday. It took about 3 days. And they're in here, they're eating it, they're healthy. So if you want to put eggs, raw or boiled, in your worm bin, I say go for it. The worms are happy, they're healthy, and they're eating this stuff up. So I'm Scott Bryce, and thank you for joining me on my Vermi-Adventure.